Good afternoon. Welcome to Diary of a History Teacher, and today is part 2 of my lecture series, lectures that I wish I could give in class to my students, but I'm going to give it to YouTube. Today we're talking about the myth of Sisyphus and the search for meaning. How can I live a meaningful life when the world feels increasingly more absurd and out of my control? So where am I going today? Today I'm going to talk about first, what is this myth of Sisyphus? Then I'm going to talk about absurd things in the United States. Then I am going to ask the question, am I Sisyphus? I'm going to then relate it to what would Albert Camus respond with? And then lastly, some points on what I think are going to be living a meaningful life. So here's a screenshot from Wikipedia on what the myth of Sisyphus is. So it's from ancient Greece. It's a story that you can find in the Iliad and the Odyssey. Sisyphus, he is the founder and the king of Ephyria, which is now known as Corinth. And he reveals that Zeus abducted Aegina to the river god Aesopus, thereby incurring Zeus's wrath. His subsequent cheating of death earns him eternal punishment in the underworld, and once he dies of old age, he goes to the underworld, and the gods force him to push up a boulder up a hill for all of eternity. Once he gets to the top of the hill, the boulder rolls back down, and he repeats this process for all of time. So Sisyphus, here's a picture of him pushing up a boulder. Once he gets to the very top, he doesn't really succeed. He never really gets to the top. He can see the top. He gets really, really close, and then the boulder rolls back down the hill. And he repeats this over and over and over again. So let's talk about some absurd things in the United States. Point number one, it is absurd that people go into debt because of a hospital bill. Down here, I'm showing you a graph or a chart of people in the United States owe at least $220 billion worth of medical debt. People cannot afford the increasing cost of healthcare. People cannot afford the increasing cost of their healthcare premiums or the increasing cost of their deductibles. It is absurd that people are going into poverty, going bankrupt because of medical debt. Point number two, it is absurd that grocery prices are going up constantly in this country. Down here, I'm showing you a chart starting in 2019 on how food prices have consistently increased since 2019. This graph attributes it to two things, COVID and the bird flu as one reason. But in 2025, we've seen a remarkable increase of food prices at the grocery store almost weekly, if not monthly. And I am going to argue that I think it is because of Donald Trump's tariffs, 100% Donald Trump's tariffs. People are raising the prices. Even if there is a good made in America, they're still raising the prices because they might say, oh, the plastic comes from China. Oh, the cardboard comes from Canada, whatever. People are experiencing higher and higher grocery bills, and that is absurd. Point number three, I always ask my civic students whenever we talk about the Second Amendment or whenever we talk about problems in the United States, I ask them, hey, among your age group, children in the United States, what is the leading cause of death? They say cancer or car accidents. No, it's actually guns. Guns are the leading cause of death for children in the United States. And that is absurd. Here's a fun one. Whenever my students go on their phones and I'm walking around, I always ask them, have you ever gotten to the end of TikTok? Have you ever found the bottom? They're like, no, there is no bottom. There's an end to a movie. Whenever I read a book, there's an end to the book. TikTok, there is no end. There is no bottom. It is designed to trap you and to keep you on that app so that they can make more and more money. That is absurd. Two more points. The next one is, it is absurd that we have homelessness and poverty in the richest nation the world has ever seen. The United States of America, our economy is over $20 trillion. There's over $20 trillion in this country circulating around. And it's absurd that we cannot afford or we cannot plan accordingly to keep people out of poverty, to make sure everybody has enough food, that everybody has a home to live in, that everybody has access to clean drinking water. That is absurd. And my last point, I actually got this from another YouTuber. His name is Professor Zhang from China. He has a YouTube channel called Predictive History that I love to watch, and he talked about this in one of his recent videos: quiet quitting. If you do not know what quiet quitting is, it is you're not quitting your job, you're just doing it quietly. You're not doing your job 100%. You're not putting in your effort. You're showing up and you're clocking out. When you do the work, you're barely trying, if you're doing anything at all. Some people, they go to the bathroom for 20 minutes. Some people scroll TikTok instead of doing work. It is one of the most absurd things that is going on in this country. So I got a couple things. It feels like I am Sisyphus. It feels like I am pushing up a boulder up a mountain and I'm never going to get to the top. I'm never going to succeed. I'm never going to win. I have endless deadlines. I have grades that I am constantly having to do. I have behavior corrections every single day in my classroom. And I also am on TikTok. I'm also on YouTube, and I'm constantly scrolling. I feel like it is one of those escapes, and that's what my students also say. They use it as an escape to clear their head, to relax and decompress. I'm constantly buying the same stuff over and over. I feel like when I buy something, it doesn't last forever. It's the stuff that we're buying is not quality stuff. It is just really, really cheap manufactured stuff. And I feel like I can't win when it comes to the stuff that I'm buying. Here's a fun one. Our political system. I feel like I can't win. I feel like whenever I vote in our elections, I won't ever see change. No matter who I vote for, no matter what I say, and whoever I can argue for to help me make a change in this country, every time I go to vote, it feels like I don't win. I feel like I can't seem to see change. I'm constantly having to practice self-care. I don't feel replenished. I just now coming back from my fall break where I got to relax, take a bath, do the sauna, do all the things that help me feel relaxed and not stressed. And I feel like I can't win with that. I go to the gym and I never see any progress. I'm constantly working out. I feel like I'm not seeing any of my muscles get any stronger. I'm lifting the same amount of weights. I feel like I cannot win. It all feels boring. It all feels repetitive and it feels pointless, but I'm doing it anyway. So Albert Camus is a French philosopher from the World War II era. He lived in French Algeria, North Africa, and he was one of the leading thinkers in the existentialist philosophy. And how he would respond to this in his book Myth of Sisyphus, he said three things. You need to revolt, find freedom, and find passion. Revolt. You need to refuse to accept that these things are absurd. You need to actively try and change the world around you. You need to do things that make you happy without infringing the life or liberty of others. You need to do whatever makes you happy. And you need to find your passions. You need to connect with life through creativity and through love. Here's another snippet from Wikipedia. Camus is interested in Sisyphus' thoughts when marching down the mountain. Not at the top, but after the ball rolls down, after the rock rolls down, he's interested in what is Sisyphus doing on the way down from the mountain, chasing that boulder to go push it back up. After the stone falls back down the mountain, Camus states that it is during that return, that pause, that Sisyphus interests me. A face that toils so close to stones is already stone itself. I see that man going back down with a heavy yet measured step toward the torment of which he will never know the end. This is truly a tragic moment when the hero becomes conscious of his wretched conditioned. So what does it mean to live a meaningful life? Life, I always ask my students, what is the meaning of life? What is the meaning of life? There is no meaning. You make meaning. You create meaning in your life. Life will not give you lemons. You have to literally grow the lemons yourself. Meaning grows through the experiences that we share to support each other and to feel like you belong in a community. Just like Sisyphus, I will never win. I might never win. But it's the act of pushing the rock itself. That is the meaning. The act of trying, the act of getting up, picking up yourself, and moving forward. So, to end the video, I want to ask you, leave a comment. What do you think? How do you find meaning in your life? I hope you guys enjoyed this short lecture. This is Diary of a History Teacher. If you like this video, please hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you next time.